sales. Our inventory is up, but our pending contracts are down this week. So we'll get in more into that in just a second. But my name is Mark Wayne II here, team leader, Champions Real Estate Team at Berkshire Hathaway Home Service and Bass Real Estate Company. So always like to start out with a quick tip. So quick tip today is one thing I hear is should I accept the highest offer as a seller? Should I accept the highest offer on those? So one thing, yes, depending on if you have multiple offers. You don't have multiple offers, and yes, the highest offer is probably the only offer that you have in front of you. But on multiple offer situations, for my clients, I give them a Excel spreadsheet, put all the offers down so it has the price, any contingencies, escalation causes, appraisal gap coverages, home inspections, what type of financing is, when the closing date is. Those are all important bullet point items that we need to consider when we're, you know, going over the offers and really analyzing what is the best situation for you. So that may not be the highest as far as the price, but the best offer may be something maybe a little bit lower price, but has a better closing date or has no home inspection contingencies or a home sale contingencies. The buyer has to sell their house before they can buy yours. So that's what that's my kind of recommendation is analyzing that offer as a whole, not just off of one piece being the purchase price. So there's many different spokes in the wheel in that side of it in the offer, and so we got to look at it all and see what the best offer is for you. So let's jump into what's going on in the real estate market here. Let me pull up um, the slides for us. Alrighty, so like I said at the very beginning, we had more listings go live than we did contracts as of the previous week. So we had 732 new listings go live versus I think it was 697. So we had about 40 more listings go live this week than we did the prior week. Our contracts written was down. Last week we had 497, so down about 30 or so. So we got more inventory coming on. And sold homes 422. Happy new homeowners. So the other thing I look at is the overall market in itself. We had 3,482 active listings in the Omaha and Lincoln market. That is all the houses you have to choose from essentially there. Last week it was 3,481. We were off by one listing. Douglas Sarpy County homes on the Omaha metro area is about 1,828. Out of that, there's 986 existing homes and 842 new construction homes. So basically, out of our million population base here in the Omaha metro area, we only have less than 1,000 existing homes to take a look at. 1,828 total homes on the market. So that's not a very big. So we have about 2.5 months supply of inventory. So that's what we see deemed as a seller's market there. Last week we were like at 3.4, but we saw more houses come on the market than went off the market. So that pushed our inventory into that seller's market side there. So inventory tightening, but there's less urgency. So we're getting less homes on the market from a month supply inventory, but less homes went off the market this week. So what does that all entail for you? What's the big picture? So ultimately from buyers, you got more options. You got more houses out there to choose from than the buyers that took them off the market in that side. So obviously the urgency maybe not be quite as much. And then ultimately you have more opportunities. Obviously, more options, more opportunities to get out there. So, from a seller's standpoint, basic condition is important. Buyers right now are very finicky, I feel. What I mean by that is they go out and they see a handful of houses, and if there's, updates or things that need to be done, deferred maintenance items, and, that seller's unwilling to do some of those prior to listing that house, that may reflect in no offers. Because the buyers right now think, oh, someone, it's going to be multiple offers. There's not that many houses. Some buyer's going to jump on that one. I don't want to throw my hat in the ring on that one. But the houses that are, have some of those deferred maintenance items taken care of, fresh paint, carpet, things of that sort can hopefully net you the most amount of, equity in that house. So the thing I was thinking too of this last week, one thing I was thinking or talking about, our job as agents is to net you the most, right? So is that netting you the most amount of money, or is that netting you the most amount of potential buyer activity on that house? So there's different meanings to that, and I think, both is true from an agent perspective, is our goal is to net you the most amount of money. Yes, but in order to net you the most amount, we need to net you the most amount of buyers that can see that home and market that home, and that's part of getting a comprehensive game plan for you to get both of those parts of the equation in there. I think that's something that we sit down with you, get you a game plan, scouting report. I said down here on the bottom, having a scouting report is important because you want to know what the buyers are thinking, and vice versa. As a buyer, you want to know what a seller's thinking. How are they analyzing their offers? And I just talked about that in our quick tip. Should you accept the highest offer? Not always. Yes, again, trying to net you the most amount for the sale of that house, but it might not always be the most important thing. So knowing how to position yourself from a buyer's perspective and ultimately as a seller's perspective, I think is hugely important for you. Depending on whatever side of the coin you are. I could just come back from my coaching experience, coached hockey for 15 years, and it's like you got to analyze what the other teams are doing and not just think on a one-track mind and that side of it. So as far as rates go, rates are kind of being flat. They're right around in between 6 to 6.5, right around that 6.25. So, ultimately in the Middle East, just things, the conflict that we have going on with Iran, that's kind of, the uneasiness in that side. So, but other than that, everything's going great in the real estate market. If you have any questions, want to get a game plan together, get a scouting report, all that, reach out to us here. My number's just down here on the screen here, 672-7670. And appreciate everybody listening, and we will see you again next week. And take care.